Hello and welcome again to another episode of One Starfish, where our mission is to help change the world one person or one starfish at a time. As always, make sure to rate, review, subscribe, share. That's how we get the word out about what we do. We have some amazing guests on today. Our guest today, Mike, and I just met. He has a business called Remodeling Right that he started in 2014. So they do a residential contractor. Customer service is one of their biggest strengths. So I'm sure we'll touch on that, and as well as a story, Family Guy, all the things out in Rhode Island. Great to have you on the show. Thanks for being here, Mike.
Thank you, Angela. It's a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. So I know we chatted before, so I want to get into this. You started into contracting or like remodeling or whatever really early in life, it sounded like. Tell us a little bit about, what got you into it.
Yeah, sure. It goes all the way back to high school when I was in wood shop and metal class. I really enjoyed and became attracted to working with my hands. It was a skill that I learned very quickly, and creating something out of nothing is really what drove me towards the trades. Um, I was able to become an intern at a metal shop while I was still in high school. So I was able to work part-time and go to school part-time. And it was really eye-opening. It was nice to make money at the age of 17, 18 years old, still going to high school 2, 3 days a week and be able to work the rest of the time. And still some of the projects that I was able to work on are still around today, which is it's cool to drive by and see like, hey, I built that wrought iron fence, or I did that gate over there. It's exciting.
Where do you think that work ethic came from?
To be honest, I rely a lot on my wrestling career. I wrestled for way just over 12 years. I started at really, really young.
Well,
And by the time I got to high school, I was very, very competitive. My father invested a lot of time and energy into me,
hmm.
and to the point to where I wasn't allowed to do football. He was afraid that I'd get hurt during wrestling season and not be able to compete. We had a lot of I guess we put a lot of eggs in that basket, and I thought I was going to go to college and get a scholarship because I was really competing at that collegiate level. I had 2 state championships. I was wrestler of the year in the tournament too. The state tournament, my match was match of the tournament. I was really well recognized in the state of Rhode Island as a wrestler, and competing in the New Englands. I ended up getting fifth my senior year, and I remember to this day. It's hard to live in the past, but it's I was told that if I won New England's, I was going to get a free scholarship to BU by the coach of the BU wrestling team. And when I lost that semifinals round, right, I lost to a strong competitor by 3 points. He ended up going on to become very high collegiate wrestler, NCAA's, and I ended up joining the Army and with National Guard and working in the trades immediately. And I wouldn't I wouldn't change anything about it. But my work ethic did come from wrestling, showing up every day, being the leader, and just putting in the work when nobody's watching is really what stuck with me over the years.
Were there days, oh, I don't even know, fast forward, has that really stuck with you all throughout your life?
Yeah, yeah. I'm not going to say I'm always the last person to leave because my team is strong. But when it comes to putting in the work, when I need to put in the work, I there's no question. It's a commitment that I
What do you
made.
do on the days you don't feel like it?
Uh, you know, just do it.
What would
It's
you get?
tough.
Like, that sounds so cliche though. So, people are listening to this, and if you had someone on your team that say maybe wasn't as, I don't know what the word is, disciplined, or as driven or as motivated, how would you help them work through that when they really don't feel like it? Like, something terrible just happened, someone in the family passed away, something, there was a health challenge, like real problems that are going on out there. And then they don't, like, not just like wake up one day and don't feel like it, but like something happened, really took away their like drive and their motivation. I think you've had some similar things. How do you work through that?
So nobody's perfect, right? There have been
Come
days
on.
there have been days where I just couldn't get through, and you don't let it last long. There's a rule of thumb that I like to live by where it's like, hey, if something bad happened, try to absorb it, try to acknowledge it, maybe you have to sit with it for a day or two, but then move on. Like you can't fix what has happened. You can only change what's going to happen in the future. Um, yeah. So, I mean, if somebody was working with me and they had something catastrophic happened, or if I saw a lack of motivation, the number one thing that I try to do is realign them to their goals. So one of the things that we're working on now in the company is setting up and establishing personal, professional, and financial goals for everybody. And we're doing one-on-ones to try to help coach them and motivate them so that when I can help them get to their goals, they can help the company get to our goals. Right? It's a reason to show up and be excited every day. And if you lost somebody or something really bad happened, hey, hands off, deal with it. Let me help you find some help if you need it, talk it out. We're here as a family, but don't let it ruin your life. We've
On the days, you did say there's been some days where maybe you haven't done the work. What what did you do on those days to like so that maybe it was only one day or half a day or something, and then you were able to pick yourself off the floor and get back to work, or get back to your dreams and goals and where you're going? What works for you? Like, like did meditation, reading books, like what do you just laying in bed? Like what do you do on those? What did you do on those days? Because I'm curious, like actually, what did you do?
Yeah, so there was a time in my life that I was not as motivated.
Okay.
It came like I was really strong motivation. I started my business, and then life got in the way. I wasn't making the money I thought I was. I was having really bad issues. I was drinking, I was smoking. That happened for a span of 2, 3, 4 years probably.
Okay.
And I didn't realize that I was falling off of who I was.
Hmm.
When I realigned with my goals and I realigned with my future and I said, this is not who I'm meant to be.
Hmm.
I'm meant to be somebody special. I would look at myself in the mirror. This is an Ed Milet thing. I would look at myself in the mirror and say, Mike, you're here to be somebody special. What are you doing? Get up and do something better. Move forward. Instead of just flatlining or even declining at some points in my life, I had to shake it off. I had to reach out to people that I looked up to as mentors. One is a really good friend of mine that owns a gym, and he got me to quit smoking overnight. I don't know what it was. I know you follow Dr. Joe, Joe Dispenza, and some of the stuff that I'm listening to him about right now relates to maybe what happened to me back in that moment where I just made the mental shift. I said, you know what? He challenged me. He goes, don't smoke before you show up to work out. And we had to work out every single day at that time, right? Brand new. I haven't worked out in like 3, 4 years at this point, and I wanted to get better. He goes, just don't smoke before you show up. I said, fine. And I didn't smoke again ever
Wow.
since. I think I've maybe cheated once.
Yeah. That's impressive. So
It's
what made you want to get better? What was there do you remember? Maybe there wasn't. Maybe there's a whole bunch of little factors. Was there a catalyst? Was there something you read? Did you start getting into personal development? What made you want to even do that switch? Because that's like a major, and thank you for sharing. Like that's a major shift, going from drinking and smoking and hanging out and probably doing okay to like, hey, I want to become the best version of me.
So that was at a time in my life where I started doing some personal development and some coaching. I was really learning how to become a business owner at that point.
Oh, good.
Um, I was putting a lot of energy into developing the business, and I had goals on trying to find somebody to manage my projects for me. I put a lot of faith in a kid that I hired that had a lot of potential. And when he let me down, he left me with everything. And I remember being in tears, just feeling defeated. And I'm like, I can't just keep doing this anymore. Now, mind you, I was not taking care of myself. I was not working out. I wasn't eating right. I was drinking. I was smoking. So I had only myself to blame at that.
Mhm.
One of the books that I really like, Jocko Wilkins, Extreme Ownership, that phrase alone resonates with me so well. And at that time, I was on Instagram and I saw one of my buddy's posts. Dude's ripped, right? And I'm like, this is a kid that we used to train together with and wrestle together with. He's a couple of years younger than me. I reached out to him and I said, Jerry, I need some help, man. I'm failing. He goes, what? He looked up to me as a mentor, and I had no idea. He opened up his story with me. It was like, dude, I looked up to you. You were the epitome of what it was supposed to be. That's how he developed and became himself. So he took me under his wing. He got me in shape. I went on 75 hard. I did, he challenged me to do the barbarian, which is this freaking crazy ass workout. Now, mind you, he had me do this within months of me beginning working out again. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to do that. He goes, it's a goal. So we set it as a goal. We work towards every single day. And I completed the barbarian, which is it's a 1 mile walk with about 400 something pounds on you, strapped all over your body, from kettlebells to a backpack to ankle weights to a sled. And you walk for, it took me about 2 hours to do. The most painful, excruciating thing I've ever done in my life. Still trying to muster the energy to try to do it again, maybe. But it's like, when you go through something so traumatic, why would you do
Right.
it
Yeah.
again? But all of that really led to me becoming the version of myself that I am today, which is only a fraction of who I'm going to be in 10 years. Because once you get on this path, it's addicting. It's consuming. And when you can start changing other people's lives, that's the reward in my eyes.
That's cool. And so when you're getting there and you're obviously very, I would say you're very extreme doing some of this stuff. Just curious. And I'm just curious. When you're surrounded by people now, people are listening to this, it could be a spouse, it could be people in their business, could be friends that maybe aren't as extreme. Um, how do you personally, I guess, accept them for where they are? Because everyone's at different stages and it's not like you're better or like we know that, like you said, you're humble about that. So how do you personally like, because I'm just curious, when you're doing that and you're like, yeah, how do you accept them where they're at? And how do you also maybe help them stretch?
Well, one, I try not to judge,
I love that.
right? Like everybody's in a different place. Everybody's going through their own story.
Mhm.
And who am I to say what you should be doing?
Mhm.
At one point in my life, I was a failure as far as I'm concerned. I didn't achieve what I was meant to be here for.
Mhm.
So the only thing I can do is gentle pushes in the right direction and show up and be me and hope that it's contagious enough that you want to be at the same level or somewhere similar, you know? God, if everybody was as intense, it would be scary. And some of the stuff that I do, it's because maybe I have a couple screw loose from wrestling, being a paratrooper, doing those crazy things. I
Right.
enjoy that stuff.
Right.
Right. There was once a time in my life that I was fearless, absolutely fearless. Now I'm 38 years old. I have 2 kids, a wife, a business. I'm scared shitless of losing what I have, but at the same time, it motivates me. Right. I'm not going to go jump out of a plane tomorrow. I probably would, but I'm not going to because I don't have to put myself at risk anymore for the excitement.
Right.
My excitement is winning daily, helping my team win, helping my family win, and helping anybody around me just be better.
Love that. That's so good. So your business you started, what are some things that you have had to work through in order to build a successful business and how would you if you could go back to when you started, what would you do anything differently? Or pretty much the same?
I would do a lot of things differently.
Okay.
A lot. My story starts in, well, 2014, I started the business. I was living in the basement of a rental for $500 a month. I had a 1 year old and a 5 year old.
Oh wow.
My 5 year old is from another relationship, so I'd get him every weekend. And my 1 year old was with my now wife. And she was an entrepreneur as well. She was a dog groomer, had a very successful business. And I was working up in Boston and Norwood area, commuting from Portsmouth to Boston daily, anywhere from 2 to 3 hours, depending on traffic,
Oof.
round trip, right? Going there is like an hour, coming back is an hour. You hit traffic, you forget about it. That wore on me really, really fast. The only reason I did it is because I was working with my best friend and it was exciting. I was helping him grow something. This is a guy that I partnered with a handyman business locally. It did fail. We didn't know anything. We would charge enough to pay rent, stupid, not knowing what you didn't know kind of thing. Um, so I started the company in 2014. I hired my brother to help with me soon after that. Um, and I didn't grow very easily. We were getting jobs, we were making some money, I was paying my bills. I never had anything in savings. I actually had my van repoed for me twice. Because you had to juggle bills, and I just didn't know what I was doing wrong. And my wrestler mentality and infantry mentality came out. I'm like, Mike, just work harder. You'll figure it out. You'll finally come through. And I just kept working harder and harder and harder. And I'm doing 12, 14-hour days. And I'm taking jobs in areas where I would have to sleep over because it was grinding me down.
No kidding.
And that's what got me into the downward spiral of, hey, let's have a drink at the end of the night religiously. Right? You're going through a bottle or two of whiskey in a week, and you're just like, whatever. It doesn't. I can get up and I can work. I was still young,
Right.
right? um, I didn't. It didn't affect me. Well, it did, but I didn't realize what it was doing to me
Right.
until I finally just blew up. And there's so many times where I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna make it anymore, but I can't quit. I just can't. It's not in me to give up. Um, so fast forward a little bit, 2017, my mom died, and she died of cancer. It was quick. It was about 3 months from the time she told us until she passed. Mind you, she's a cancer survivor from when I was a child. So when she told me this time around, she didn't seem confident. She was very, very ill, and she was my support system. I could tell her anything. She was my best friend. She was my mentor, my coach. she and At that point I was still doing okay in business. Things were good. Fast forward a couple more years, 2019, and I'm doing a project early 2019, and saws all skipped and almost cut off my thumb. And I remember walking out of the job holding my thumb, and I'm like, God, I think it's bad. I think it's really bad. I looked down on it, it's just blood everywhere. So I went to the hospital. I got it all stitched up. Luckily, it didn't go through the bone or anything like that. It just barely tapped it, but enough to scare the hell out of you and put me out of work for like 3 months. I had 4 guys working for me at the time, and I had to step back and become a business owner now. First time I ever had to think about making money without my hands. I always knew, like, hey, if I put in hours, I can get paid. If I
Mhm.
show up and I do something with these guys, I can make money.
Right.
Now I didn't have it.
Mm.
And I had to be a leader, something that I learned how to do in the military, something that I learned how to do in wrestling, but I never applied it to business. And I started going online and Googling, and I started consuming podcasts, and I started getting into YouTube videos, and I'm just consuming all this information. I'm like, wow, that makes so much sense. Why did I not think of that? Right? I never went to business school. I never took economics in high school. I never did any of that stuff. I was a shop guy. I was the guy that did as little as possible. I got my A's and B's. I showed up, and I liked to wrestle. All right, that was me. So when I started consuming all this content, life started to get real. I started to make some money. I started making little tweaks, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool." So I invested in my first conference. It was a 2-day conference. I took my wife out there. We were fire it up after that, and I mean, it was game on at that point. It was like, this is it. This is everything I needed. I signed up for a coaching program that I'm still part of today, where we learn contractor sales. I have access to 500 different contractors all over the United States. These are friends of mine now, right? I probably talked to, I don't know, out of all of them, I probably have 10, 15, maybe 20 people that we can connect with on a regular basis. We can talk shop, we role play sales calls, and I stay sharp. We share ideas back and forth with marketing. We talk about the economy and the new rules and regulations coming out. And there's been nothing more impactful to my business than that program. Because of that, I started investing in other coaching programs because I saw the return on it. I invested into Arte, where I got in touch with a ton of really cool entrepreneurs, get the motivation and the insight of what it looks like to develop and teach and just be the genuine person that we all are, and care about our people and care about the community and care about business. And then most recently, I invested more money than I've ever thought of in my entire life. It scared the hell out of me. And I mean, we're talking six digits. And I did it with the intent of I've bettered myself to this point. I have a lot of things in motion. My business is doing great. This is going to take me from here to here. And I know that I'm capable of putting in the work. I know that if making such a sizable investment will keep me honest and showing up every day, it's put me in a corner, right? I said earlier, I can't fail. I won't let myself fail. I won't give up. Having that as like that burning fire now is going to really excel us into the future, I think. I mean, we've seen just in the few months that I've been part of this, I've seen tremendous, tremendous growth, not only in myself, but my team. You
That's
know?
amazing. I love it. And then at that point, kind of whenever you went into that, that's when you quit smoking and then you quit drinking. Um,
Yeah, that was what year was that? That was 2021, 2020, something like that is really when I kind of gave it all up. 19, 20, 21. It's fuzzy when I actually did that, but
funny when you talk about alcohol. So fuzzy.
I know, right?
It does do that.
Wonder why.
Yeah. But that's really interesting. And I was similar. Like when I got diagnosed with MS, my legs literally got taken out from under me. And all of a sudden I couldn't do the things that I was doing. And before that, I feel like I was like that. It's just so connect with that I just had that philosophy. I was making it happen. I was working all the time. And then I couldn't. And it was like, yeah. God
What do
just
I do
does that
now?
sometimes just to prove that I feel like that was for me is just to prove that he's powerful and it's him that's winning, not me.
Yeah,
Because before that, I was like, yeah, I'm doing this. Like, I'm amazing. Basically, I wasn't thinking like I'm amazing, but like I knew I could win. And then
right.
I was like, oh no, you don't. You don't. It's not you. It's not you. So that's so cool. Similar thing. And so yeah, so you're listening to this and you're just hustling and stuff. Sometimes you have to slow down. And that if you're a hustler, that's like the hardest thing in the world to actually slow down and think and change that. Like what you went through, but that's where your change came from. Which is crazy. And so you said one of your strengths of your business is your customer service. So I'd love you to touch on that, like as a business owner, if someone's listening to this, what are some things that you do that like, I mean, remodeling is kind of like it's a hands-on business. It's not like a service-based business. So what is it that you feel sets you apart from other companies that do remodeling?
Sure. So getting into remodeling, getting into people's homes, it can be a very transactional experience with
Mhm.
people. Hey, I want a kitchen. It's okay. It's $75,000. Great. This is what it's going to look like. This is what we're going to do. And then everybody's like hands off and you just get the job done at the end. You
Yeah.
turn it over. There's no, there's no bond there. There's no reason for them to call you back. There's no rapport. There's nothing. You just did the job for them. They're happy. You're happy. You got paid. Hands off. That's how I got into business. When the shift really changed and it's like, hey, my customers are the reason I'm here.
Yeah.
Like my motive was to change something ugly into beautiful, right? Create something out of nothing.
Right.
Well, my passion now and my motive now is to make sure that I leave such a lasting experience that I make them raving fans and best friends at the end of the project. Part of this is more of a business side of things. So if you're a business owner, right, the easiest sale is the second sale. And I say that with the effort of building that trust and rapport with your customer beforehand. So when we get into remodeling your home, we're going to do things like a handwritten note now. We're going to pay attention to the things that you like and give you a present at the end of the project, whether it's be a bottle of wine, a set of flowers, maybe a dog bowl because you have your best friend in the house with you. We're going to do, a year after the project, we're going to follow up with you and make sure everything's good. We're going to ask to see if you want to walk through it and just have anything touched up. Just go that extra mile to let them know that we're not the transactional company like everybody else. We're the transformational company that wants to not only transform your house into a home, but create a safe haven for you, your family. We want to give you a peace of mind that your project was done right, hence remodeling right. You know, we have superior craftsmanship coupled with superior materials, but so does everybody else. Everybody can give you a project that looks the same. Almost everybody. There's some really bad carpenters out there. But when you get into the level that we're in now, how do you separate yourself from your competitors? It's how do you take care of your customer? How are they going to remember you after the project? What about 2 years after the project? 5 years after the project? Are they going to think of you? I can't tell you how many times I've gotten a call from somebody. Hey, I'm looking to get a bathroom remodel done. One of the questions we ask is, great, have you ever been through a project like this before? Well, yeah, I had my kitchen remodel 3 years ago. First thing that pops in my head is like, why didn't you call that guy back? So I ask, and some of the times, more often than not, it's, oh, I didn't think he did bathrooms because he's a kitchen guy, right?
Right.
We do it all. We're general contractors, and most
Right.
general contractors do it all. But you don't think of hiring a bathroom guy to do your siding.
Right.
Well, why not? When you have this everything in play, we're not using your tile guys to install your siding. As a general contractor, we have access. We have a network of people that we use.
Right.
Not only our internal people, but a network of people. Our managers are well versed on the entire construction envelope. I
Right.
could build you a brand new home, but my company's remodeling right. And people look at that and they're like, you don't do new construction, you only remodel. That's not true. We've built pool houses, we've built homes, we've do that kind of stuff. It's just not our specialty. Everybody needs a niche, and our niche is remodeling, taking something old and making it new and beautiful again. I live in an area where homes are 16, 17, 1800s, right? There's a lot of remodeling that needs to be done. And these homes are, some of them are unsafe. And people don't even realize that because they've been around for so long. With the new codes and everything, we're updating it. We're giving you a safe home that you just don't have to worry about anymore. And that's really where my motivation comes from.
That's really cool. That's awesome. So we've touched on lots of different subjects today. Quitting smoking, quitting drinking, stepping into the business and working on the business, not in the business. And that's more successful in the long term. And and then obviously giving great customer service so that people repeat buy. In wrapping up, I always have 3 final questions, and then anything we didn't touch on today that you think would be really impactful for our listeners. So, first and final question is, if someone's looking for their purpose, what's one sentence you would say that could help them find it?
It's okay to be uncomfortable.
Hmm.
I've had to put myself in very uncomfortable positions to grow and to find out what I like to do and didn't like to do.
Cool.
So a lot of people are afraid of the uncomfortness.
It's okay to be
You know,
uncomfortable. Awesome. Second question, what's a favorite quote and why?
I love this one. This is new to me too. What you think is what you say. What you say is what you do, and what you do will be your legacy. Is what you're remembered for. That resonates really well to me because it's one. It's also the power of the mind. What you think is what you say. What you say is what you do. It's also, if you live by that, you know that when you start getting negative, everything around you turns into this dark cloud
Mm.
because you're thinking negatively. You're attracting that negativity to you. So even when you're going through tough times, try to find the silver lining, trying to find the positivity. Remind yourself that you're here to do something great. And those little affirmations, when you say them, when you think them and you say them, they will come true.
Good. Third and final question, what's one word or sentence you want on your gravestone?
Well, to be frank, I don't want a gravestone. But if I did have one, it would say carpe diem, seize the day. It's Latin. It's something that my mom would say to me every morning walking out to the bus. And yeah, seize the day and make the best of it.
Cool.
Don't plan for tomorrow. Focus on right now. And I do believe in planning for tomorrow, but carpe diem
Yeah,
for
I
sure
get,
resonates
yeah.
well with me.
Some Marines say that too, is it not?
Uh
Is that Marines? Isn't that one of them?
they say something in Latin.
Okay, I'm like, one of them have that. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
All right, you run into someone in a coffee shop and they listen to this and they're learning about customer service, like I said, and work ethic and all that kind of stuff. What's something we didn't touch on, Mike, that you think would be really impactful for our listeners?
Ooh. I guess finding that mentor is really, we touched on it a little bit. Coaching was a big impactful transitional moment for me. And if you're struggling and you don't have a mentor, you don't have somebody to look up to, that's the easiest way to fast track yourself. Find somebody that's been there before and try to follow right underneath them.
And that's the key to follow. Huh.
Yeah, yeah. It's and ask really good questions. The better the question, the better the answer.
Hmm. Use AI to find good questions if you need to. That's my thing. I'm not the
I
very
love it
best
right
at question
now.
asking, so I'm like, how do I get good questions? I'm like AI. I love it. Thank you for being on, guys. Let's go out there. Let's share this. If we can go out there and change one life for one starfish at a time together, we can change the world. Thanks for being on, Mike.
Thank you, Angela. I appreciate everything.